Hi, and welcome to the Long Range Shooting and Custom Rifle Building podcast presented by Wolf Precision Incorporated, where we learn about and share long range shooting and custom rifle building. I am your host, Jamie Dotson, and welcome to the show. Hi, and welcome to episode 71 of Wolf Precision's Long Range Shooting and Custom Rifle Building podcast. I'm your host, Jamie Dotson, and welcome to the show. In this episode, we are going to be talking about the health of the outdoor industry in America. The last couple months, we have been, working and growing as a business. We are also consumers, just like everybody else out there, so we buy lots of product in the outdoor industry. And I just want to share and pass along some things that we've learned, some things that we sort of have taken issue with and would like to just put out there on the podcast. And then in the future, we're going to invite some American-made products onto the show to do interviews, to talk about what they do, where they came from, and really try to give some hindsight or history on a lot of these businesses and what they do and why it's so important that we try to bring our business back home here to the great US of A. So without further ado, here we go. So before we get started, I do want to say thanks to Krieger Barrels. Krieger is a proud sponsor of the show and great maker of fine cut rifled barrels. They do offer KriegerDirect.com, where you can go on and purchase barrels directly in inventory and have them in hand in as little as 2 to 3 days. They also have an online inventory of barrels that constantly go on sale. So any extra barrels that they get, they put up for sale, and you can often find a barrel that will work for a specific application or something that you're looking for. So if you're interested in purchasing a great American-made product, as well as a fine cut rifled barrel, one of the best we believe in the country, then stop over to Krieger Direct or KriegerBarrels.com and visit their selection today. All right, so in the outdoor industry itself, I've been around for quite a long time. Of course, I'm an outdoors person. I'm a shooter. I'm a hunter. I love to camp. For example, we've traveled the entire country in small campers and tent camping, and it's just, I love to travel. And so spending time outdoors to me is sort of like sacred time. Just, it gives you a chance to disconnect from everything that life has to throw at you and just watch the sun come up in the morning on a quiet hillside. No cell phone service, no computers, no phones. To me, that's just a recharge the batteries type moment. You just get the chance to relax. And this next several series of podcasts are going to be focused on businesses in America. And I say that in a way that doesn't degrade our great friends in Canada. We purchase products from Austria that have businesses here in the United States. So this isn't let's just not buy anything from anybody. But I want to talk a little bit about the health of the outdoor industry and some really alarming things that have been happening over the last even 10 years that I think us as consumers, from a consumer's perspective, we need to be paying real close attention to, because they are destroying our industries and they are profiteering off of products and hurting our neighbors in the process. And so this is sort of near and dear to me as far as why we start businesses and what we do. And we've had these conversations here with some local business owners throughout the state of Pennsylvania here over the last couple of weeks. I got a chance to spend some time in Georgia with some of the best business advisors in the world who worked for Georgia Tech, as well as I believe some of them even spent time at Purdue. And so this just isn't coming from, Jamie Dotson in good old Johnstown, Pennsylvania, by the way, which is one of the fastest dying cities in the country, to give you business advice or talk about the health of the outdoor industry. Been to lots of shows. I've watched businesses grow and develop, and I've also watched them horrifically change. And so I just want to take a little bit of time to talk about this. The other part of this is, just where our products come from. I have spent a lot of time over the last couple of years. So for example, like we're looking for a rooftop tent. Yes, that's absolutely redneck. But we've been looking for a rooftop tent. And we like to travel and we like to stay outdoors. I could not find but one or two companies that actually make anything rooftop and almost all of the rooftop tents are made overseas. So whether it's Korea, whether it's mostly in China, same thing with coolers. So I was on a search for a really nice cooler. I've got a couple different coolers that we use at the range all the time, and of course they get really beat up. And I thought, well, I'll get a really nice cooler, hopefully keep the ice a little bit longer in the Jeep and keep the food cold. And I always like to search for American-made companies or American-made products first. And so I started looking for American-made coolers. And to my surprise, a lot of the companies that were out there that I thought were American-made aren't, or only partially. So, for example, Yeti coolers have a great reputation. They started as an American-made company. But when you go on and you do some research, and I don't know how much volume's made here or there, truthfully, I don't care. But they do make some coolers here in the United States, but they also disclaim that they are made in the Philippines and China as well. And for me, that's really disheartening. There's a company called Bison Coolers that I'm going to reach out to and have them come on the show. They make coolers in Texas. They're American-made, really good quality. There's another American-made cooler that's made in Cabela's. Boots. Let's talk about boots for a minute. There's a company called White's Boots out west. I'm going to try to get a pair made. And it might sound silly, but, I'm looking for a good pair of boots over the years. And, when I was a police officer, when I was out, working, Rocky boots was a big thing 20 years ago, American-made boots. And, I worked really hard. I saved up. I bought a really good pair. By the way, were really expensive 25 years ago. And I wore them for years. I mean, I would polish them. I've had them in rain, sleet, hail, or snow. My feet didn't hurt. 16-hour days on your feet. And I thought, oh my gosh, what a great pair of boots. And then out of the blue, I bought a new pair. And, you go through several pair of boots, but I bought a new pair. And gosh, the second week on the job, my feet are killing me. I'm like, why are my feet hurting? And then, 6 months later, the heels are completely ground down for me walking with the boots on. And I thought, oh my gosh, what happened? And yeah, sure enough, they're made overseas. And I don't have a problem with that per se, if that's what you choose to do, but it's sort of disheartening to watch corporate America do that to these companies, or these companies do that to themselves. So they make a great product, they put it out there in the market, they develop a good following, and then somebody gets involved in the company, whether it's a penny pincher or a CFO that decides that, hey, we can have these made overseas in China, and we can bring them in and sell them, it'll cost us half to make it. We'll add another 10 or 20% for the shipping, of course, because we got to ship it from there in containers. And don't forget about, import taxes, all that other things. But we'll make an extra 20%. And here's the kicker. We'll charge the American public the same price as if it was made here when we started it. And so you go over there, you quote unquote have it made to your specs, and then you bring it here and you dump it on the American public and you charge the same amount of money for it. In the meantime, you go home and you don't think much of it, but there is somebody's mom who lost her job. There's somebody's dad who's lost her job. There's some college kid that was probably working there paying his way through college. It now doesn't have a job. There's some neighbor somewhere that lost his job. It might not be my next door neighbor, but it might be yours, that's now unemployed, that worked for this company and helped them grow and was all excited to be part of it. And now all of a sudden it's like, corporate greed or investors or whoever gets involved, they dump it overseas and then they bring it over here and they peddle it to us. We go to different shows all the time, and I'm shocked at how many of these products are made. I ask, and I'm not anti whatever, but if I'm going to spend hard-earned money and you're asking me to buy a premium product, then make sure that it's premium made. I want it to be made by you, not a corporation. I'm not buying a name tag. I'm buying your product. I thought corporate America, I thought business owners, let's just skip corporate America because we're going to get into that here in just a minute. And I know this is a long-range shooting and custom rifle building podcast, but this is about the outdoors and saving our industry because we're all involved in it in some point, and it's sort of being taken over, manipulated, by investors, by corporate greed. Look at Cabela's. Look at what they did to Sydney, Nebraska. I thought a business was about creating product that creates jobs, that creates great product, that creates more jobs, that creates more product, that creates great jobs, that creates great product. Look, I get it if you're an investor, right? You want to go out and make money, start your business and make a great product. Hire 35 people and pay them a great salary. Make a great product and you'll make great money. But, to take a company and grab it up, gobble it up, send it overseas so you can sit back, you don't see the effects that you have on the people around you, on the people who lost their job in that plant that you closed. Look at Sydney, Nebraska. Look what they did, the investors, when they forced that to merge with Bass Pro Shop and destroyed an entire community. People's lives. And I think there's that part of the world, whether it's in business college or corporate greed or the corporate world, that they see this as acceptable. Like I had a good friend of mine and he's a close friend and he's a business owner, but he's older and I'm 50. So when I say he's older and he's tainted. We had this conversation a couple weeks ago and we were talking about, loyalty and honesty and integrity and, having values in a business. And, he just point blank told me, he said, these businesses don't give a shit about you. These companies don't care about you and your well-being. And you shouldn't care about them. And that's what he said. And I could hear it in his voice that he probably was burned by a couple bad relationships. But I told him, I'm like, I don't believe in any of that. Like, and I don't do business with people like that. Like, honesty and integrity means something to me. Value means something to me. Good relationships, the health of everybody involved. Like, we have different people involved in different aspects of our business. And the one time I'd ask, and I believe it or not, I actually ask this quite often. Are you guys okay? Okay, we're getting some pricing out on these parts we're going to manufacture, and of course, we're trying to give the best product at best price. We have to make a profit to stay in business and to grow, and there's nothing wrong with making a good profit off of a good product. But at the same time, when you're pricing these things out, I don't want to hurt anybody involved in the process or put them at risk that they're so lean in what little money that they're making that they do it begrudgingly, or one little thing goes wrong and they're losing money, right? And so I ask, I'm like, hey, this price that we're working on here, are you guys okay with this? Are you making enough money? Is it profitable enough that A, you're going to be happy doing the work and that you're going to survive? That means something to me. Might not mean something to everybody. It means something to me. Then you've got other people that will just go to the lowest bidder and then still beat them up and complain about something that, I needed a lower price because I found this, or is that really how we do business now? Same thing with corporate America. Like, look what they've done to our beloved gun industry. These investors aren't interested in making firearms. They're interested in making money. They're just using our industry to do it. And so they decimate, they bleed them dry of all the capital that they have. They find ways to manipulate the system because they're smart. And they know how to do this. And there's a greed factor involved. Like that one movie where they said greed is good. Really? I'll bring you to a town where 78,000 people once lived that now 18,000 people call home. Explain it to these people that greed is good. It's somebody's neighbor. It might not be yours, but it's somebody's neighbor. It's somebody's mom. It's somebody's dad. It's somebody's kid. It's somebody's sister. It's somebody's brother. It's their families. They depend on that job. They do an honest, hard day's work to get paid and to do things and to take their family places. They are a part of your family when you hire them. And that's how they should be looked at, not as a commodity. And so you take that part of our country away and you ship it overseas. So you, like that guy that screwed Cabela's all up, right? So he got a big payday when he got all this done, but he destroyed 2,000 jobs in Sydney, Nebraska, and destroyed a town. What would have been wrong with taking the business and growing it and making your $1 million or $100 million by making these people's lives better, by finding ways to make them more productive or letting them be more ingenious in coming up with better products or better designs? They make a great living, you make a great living. They make a great product, you make a great living. So corporate America has really gotten their fingers into this to where, like, we were looking for tents, and I'm trying to buy an American-made tent, and there's just a couple left. They're expensive, sure, but so are my Rocky boots 25 years ago. So are other handmade boots that might last you 10 or 15 years and just have soles sewn on them. But think about the people that you're doing business with. So I spent $199 on these Rocky boots 25 years ago, and I wore them for years. My feet felt great. And I'm not throwing Rocky out there and saying, well, they're making them here. I don't know anything about their company now. But I do know when they made their transition, how my feet were killing me. And I was shocked. I'm like, wow, what's wrong with these boots? Why do my feet hurt so bad? And then I noticed that the backs of the heels were wearing off really quickly from whatever the compound that the material is made out of, because we walk on blacktop and sidewalks, and it just destroys them. So my goal is to go out. I would like to get a pair of white boots. The White's Boots, I think, is who they're in Oregon or Idaho. A lot of loggers and construction people, outdoor people have their boots made there. They're handmade for your feet. Maybe cost a couple $100 more, but for crying out loud, I've gone through every year. I'm buying new boots for the shooting school, and I can't wear them out in a wet field for 3 days. My feet are wet. And, I have a $190 pair of hiking boots, quote unquote, that are just falling apart. And how many times do I have to buy that year after year? So I think us as Americans, we need to step back a little bit and say, okay, to us, it shocks us that you can buy a really nice pair of boots for less than $100. And, gone are the days when you're shell shocked at a $199 pair of boots, but you knew the value of what you were buying. You were buying comfortable feet and something that was going to last you for years. And, we've gotten immune to it. We feel that it's a better value, but in the long term, when you have to replace those boots year after year, are you really that far ahead? And so I've really gone on this, especially being a small business owner. So hiring employees, it's awesome. You're bringing somebody in and they're working with you and for you, and you're paying them. You're giving them money to do things, to go have dinner with their family, to pay for their house. This is an important part of business. It's not about making money. Having a business is about making a great product and then hiring great people to make that great product. It's about creating product and jobs, not about product. It's not solely about product. It's about making product and jobs, and making better products, and having better paying jobs, and creating more wealth for the people that are working with you. I can give you like 100 examples of our poor outdoor industry where everybody and their brother is running overseas, buying up these companies, and then hiring it out and just selling the product. They don't care about the jobs, and they're destroying these companies. Look at some of the big corporations, and I hope I don't get sued over throwing names out there, but look at all the companies that went to Mexico. So, they see that as a move from a board or a business standpoint, sure. But what about the people? What about the people that worked for you, that helped you grow your business? Don't you think that making a great product or having a business is about creating jobs? Having a business is about creating jobs. Creating great products that create jobs. That's what it's about. And our poor outdoor industry is being decimated by investors. The reason I'm bringing this up is this has been a conversation for about the last 60 days. The business passes through my hands onto other portions of the business. And so the money that we make here goes to, what we're doing, but then we also pass that right along. It goes to companies like Trigger Tech. It goes to companies like Krieger Barrels. It goes to companies like Leupold. It goes to companies like Badger Ordnance, owned by Marty. It goes to companies like Masterpiece Arms. They're American-made. They're, I want to say, strategic partners in the outdoor industry trying to survive. And so I'm happy to send business their way. So let's go back to the American-made thing. I really hope that the industry gets itself straightened around, but it's not going to do it without the help of people that purchase the product. We are the people walking up and down the aisles. They are the people putting stuff on the shelves behind the scenes trying to sell it to us. The good part to all of this is if you don't buy the product, they have to address you. So over the last 3 weeks, I've been buying product, getting ready for some camping trips this year. And I sent out emails. Where is your product made? Oh, we moved our production to China. Thank you very much. Sent out another email. I didn't bash them. I didn't say, well, that's bullshit. You're killing American jobs. Why did you do that? I just didn't do business with them. And I sent another email out to another company. Hey, where's your product made at? I'm looking for a rooftop tent, and I would like to know where it's made. And we moved our facilities to China. We moved our facilities to Taiwan. They're made in Korea. I'm sorry. I'm not doing business with you. And I wish if enough Americans would say, okay, buy less but better. Look at the optics industry. Like, this part bothers me because it has a direct aspect to the quality of shooting that you get to do. It would be like being on a roller coaster with lap belts that are made in a questionable location, right? We think it's going to be okay. 99.9% of the time, it's fine. Are you going to ride that roller coaster when it flips upside down? But yet the outdoor industry is full of these people. And it's not 99.9% of the time. It's a lot higher than that. And so look at how many optics companies that popped up that are all made in China or the Philippines, right? Look at all the binoculars, the glass industry, right? Look at all the binoculars that are being brought over here and marketed, and this is corporate America. These are small businesses selling product, not creating businesses that create jobs, that create products, right? Look at the clothing industry. I mean, just look at how much that is dumped on the market and where it's made. You get a really nice product out there for a while and it's made here, and then all of a sudden, poof, gone. It's made overseas, right? Well, what about, look at doggone good bags, right? I'll give this as a perfect example. They are awesome people. Doggone Good makes shooting bags for the prairie dog industry. They've been around for a long time, 25 years. They are awesome people. They're in their, I think Don's in his 80s now. We just purchased a big order from them. They're hand-sewn by a couple of little biddies sitting around cutting the patterns out, and then he fills them. They're in their 80s. So he started selling them through this big online retailer. That retailer copied the pattern and had them made in China and now sells them. Really? You've got 60, 70-year-olds in their retirement making these great quality bags to sell to the public. They created a great product that didn't exist before. You bring them in, you copy their stuff, and then you start selling your version made from China. Have you once thought about the people behind the scenes that you hurt? So there's Don, who was at that point maybe in his 70s, who developed these bags, who you're copying. Now you're hurting his business. This is what he did. And he's hiring these other people, seamstresses, that are cutting the patterns, and now you're hurting them. Why? Because you want to copy it and send it to China. You don't want to get your damn hands dirty making anything and developing anything. You just want to copy other people's work and profit off of it, but let somebody else do the sweaty part. Pretty embarrassing. Pretty embarrassing. You show me a business owner without dirty hands, or a guy that's not getting into the shop and talking to people and working all the time? Really? That's all you do. Best practices. It's the same thing with the shooting school. We've been approached over the years, and this has happened where I spent my life working, developing and learning how to train and learning how to get what I know and translate it to something in a way that people understand and a way that people can use it. And we've been asked, hey, we would like to start your shooting school here. We just want to use your book, or we want to do this. And the one guy just asked me, all right, we just want to use your book, but we'll give you credit for it. And I'm like, well, that's called best practices. You're learning everything that we're doing and teaching, but you're not getting your hands dirty figuring out. You're just copying what somebody else is doing. But the same thing goes with the outdoor industry. Almost every part of what we do, all the tools that we buy, like we use Sunto clinometers. They're real engineering tools. They're made in Europe, but they're real tools. I love Leupold scopes, Tangent Theta in Canada, Schmidt and Bender in Germany. Still really good quality stuff. They didn't sell out. They're not run by corporate takeover. I'll give you another example. And the reason this podcast is about this is because we're going to try to bring on some American companies that make a product right here that you can go out and purchase and enjoy in the outdoor industry. Whether it's a knife, think of all the knife industries that are just importing this stuff like crazy and dumping it on our market. Well, what they don't realize is there's a lot of people that used to be in that industry that were paid and paying for their kids' college and their mortgage, making that same product that now you import without getting your damn hands dirty and dump it on the market here, lowering the price, squeezing out your competitor who can't compete at those prices simply because you're having it made overseas. Is it smart as an investor? I guess. Is it a moral thing to do? That's for you to decide. Is it something that I would do? No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. And I wouldn't support a company that would do that. Same thing with like I said, the knife industry. Look at Savage Arms. I think Savage was a great American story that just totally got missed. I got a chance to spend some time with Ron Coburn. He was the president of Savage Arms. And I got to spend actually some good quality time with him, setting and talking about business. And so he told me the story when he took Savage Arms over. They were almost bankrupt. They were out of money. And here's a guy who told me the story directly. This isn't he said, she said. He loaded up the car and went and seen distributors and was selling the firearms that way to make payroll. The president of the company, who just took a failing company over in a desperation to save his company, got in his car and was driving around with the product, getting it sold to distributors just to keep the doors open to make payroll. He turned the company around to a great big success. Now, Ron has since retired, but that's an inspiring story. That's a guy who was about creating a business that created product, that created and saved jobs. He was out there saving jobs. He was out there moving product to keep the payroll going. Just those people exist. What happens, especially for example, we are working with International Barrels now for our carbon fiber barrels. So we have a new carbon fiber barrel coming online. But corporate takeover and some of the barrel manufacturing, investors. And then all of a sudden, I call them the penny pinchers of the world, but the CFOs. And God knows you need somebody to rein in the expenditures, or we can just be like the government and have an unlimited access to a credit card and just buy whatever you want at whatever price, right? But most businesses can't operate that way, and I understand. But the pendulum swings too far that they all of a sudden become the penny pinchers of the world, trying to find ways to make things cheaper. Just to the borderline of quality, right? So they're trying to find the cheapest way to make it and still make it pass muster. And then all of a sudden they don't realize that the guy on the floor is telling you, hey, look, we can't do this. There's a chance this is going to make this product not work, or it's going to fail, or, and well, lo and behold, it does. No surprise there, but it saved 10 cents a part. And in manufacturing, it's usually not one part that's bad. You do a run of 1,000 parts. If they're all bad, they're all bad. And so what did you really save? Listen to the people that are working for you saying that you can't cut that corner. You've got to maintain quality and control. So you've got the CFOs involved. And then the big one is the investors. I get it. The capital makes things turn. Getting investors on board, getting bankers on board. They're interested, I think, in some cases to help businesses grow with the self-interest in mind. But there are those that are interested in the bottom line. And they are awesome at finding ways to bleed the companies, drive everything. My dad worked for a company that has gone through this, that they were able to take it over. They were through manipulation, through attorneys, whatever they had to do, they could get access to, whether it was internal funds that the company had stashed away in profits or cash revenue. They just bled it dry. Look at Bethlehem Steel, and here in Johnstown, Pennsylvania. Great story. Booming industry. They bled it dry. And in the end, left our town decimated because all of these people who worked their entire lives in these very dangerous steel mills all of a sudden their pensions get cut in half or annihilated. I don't think it hurt the president of the company or his family. And so I think corporate America needs to wake up and start thinking that, hey, this isn't about just the bottom line. This is about creating jobs and taking care of people. It's about giving somebody work to do, meaningful work, and being part of a team and paying them well to do it, to watch them be able to send their kids through college, to be able to watch them take a vacation or buy something or go out to dinner. That's really what it's about. Nothing wrong with a good profit. But at the expense of the people in your town, in your neighborhood, and even in your country, when the only thing you are focused on is your profit and your investors, and then I have a problem with that. And they're in our industry by the boatload. So I'm going to urge this. So I'm going to reach out there. I'll get off my tangent now. This has been bothering me for a couple of weeks because I've had a couple conversations with business owners who are just burned out because of how corporate America sort of treats businesses and how they've licensed themselves that it's okay to act that way. It's okay to not be honest, to not have integrity, and it's okay to lie, cheat, steal because that's business. And, I don't believe in that, and I certainly don't do business with people who believe that way. I wouldn't want to be in business with people that believe that way, and I would hope that people that do business with us give us the benefit of the doubt that we don't do business that way and that we always have good intentions and their best interest in mind, not just ours. Look, this is about the survival of the industry, not just Wolf Precision. If people that we work with go down, we lose an important part of our business too. We lose a team member. We lose a business partner. Not just a business or someone that we quote unquote did business with. So over the next couple of weeks, what I would like to reach out is the health of the outdoor industry in America and maybe made in the USA, even made in Canada. I don't mind, our neighbors up north buying product from Canada. Take MDT chassis, for example. Great chassis. They're sponsors of the show. Great place to do a little plug for them too. They make this show possible and we use their product and we refer them all the time. So I say it, this is going to be a little plug for MDT for them helping us. But, if you want a great chassis for your rifle, go with one of the best and grab an MDT. They make lots of different models, good customer service, good product. You can stop over to mdttac.com and check out all of the great chassis they have there today. That's mdttac.com. So there's a little plug for them. We really appreciate their help. But what we would like to do is reach out to corporate America and say, look, if you're out there and you're running a small business and it's made in America, I would like to invite you on the show. I would like to invite you on. I would like to hear your story. I would like you to tell people about the product that you have. I think sometimes the most amazing thing is the backstory of where these things come from. Like, it's a happy accident. It was, trying to fix a problem and just running into a solution just out of the blue, driving down the road and ran over a pothole and this popped in my head. It's funny, but it's also what I think amazing is to hear where these businesses started from. People's garages, their living room, some of the greatest ideas and hard workers, and to grow their business and now to have employees working for them and they're able to pay people great salaries to make great products. They're creating jobs. This is what we need in America. We need to create good jobs. And I think for Americans, we need to support those companies and we need to ask the questions. If you're a corporate America company and you're just dumping product on our market, go away. Go sell it in China. See how that works out, right? Just put it out there. We get asked all the time at shows, and I just point blank ask them, where's it made? And sometimes they get offended about it. And I'm sorry. I tell them I don't do business that way. And you're not making a product. You're just trying to sell one. And we don't do business with people that do that. It's just, you're not in it for the product. You're in it for the money. And as much as we have to make a living, right, and we got to pay our bills, but we never got in business for that. We got in business to make a great product. And if people like our product, we'll be able to hire people to create more great product. and we'll be able to create jobs, to create more great product. And that's how business works. You're just trying to fast track and bypass the system to get a product that's in demand that you know of, have it made cheaper somewhere else, and just have a better sales pitch than the next guy. Doesn't sit real well with me. I just tell them to go away. I'm not rude about it. I'm not condescending. I get it, but I tell them, sorry, we don't do business that way. And so the last couple of weeks, I've been sending out emails trying to find some different new equipment for our camping this year. And I'm just shocked. I can't find stuff made here. And I'm sending email after email after email. And I'm thinking, well, these guys got to be here. And they're not. I'll get an email back. Sorry, we moved our manufacturing to China. I say thank you and move on. So anyway, if you're a business owner in the outdoor industry and you would like to come on to the podcast and talk a little bit about it, we would like to hear from you. So you can shoot me an email. It's at contact@wolfprecision.net. It's contact@wolfprecision.net, or you can give me a call here at the shop. My name is Jamie. I'd love to talk to you. We'll talk a little bit about your company, see if it's a fit for the industry that we're in, talk about, your story, where you came from, and try to share as many of them as we can. I think it's really awesome to do. I am looking forward to it. It's probably going to be the next several series of the podcast itself, the health of the outdoor industry in America, and where we're at today and where we should be thinking about going. So we're going to be reaching out to some different companies, some different things that we use, some different things that we know lots of the people or our customers use, and try to find out who's making what here and give them a plug. We won't ask anything from you, not asking for any, this isn't paid advertising. I don't want a dime from anybody that comes on to the show. I would just like for some of the people to hear some of the products that are still being made here proudly. And what they've gone through to get their business rolling and to keep it rolling. So I'd love to hear from you. So if you have any questions or comments for the show, please feel free to reach out to us. It's contact@wolfprecision.net. If you like the podcast, please like us, share us, give us a thumbs up on iTunes. It helps us in our placements, lets people find the podcast more easier. I do want to give a quick shout out to Trigger Tech. Trigger Tech is a great sponsor of the show. We really appreciate all their help. We use their triggers in all of our builds here, and I think a couple of things that I really like about Trigger Tech is they're a safe trigger, one screw adjustment for the trigger pull weight. You don't have to really worry about sear engagement, all of the other things that go on in your standard trigger. And they're end user friendly, so the average guy can put it in no problem at all. They make a couple different levels of triggers, so depending on how light you like your trigger to be. And now they make a 2-stage, which we're a huge fan of. We installed just several this week, so the 2 stages are really getting a lot of attention. So thank you, Trigger Tech. You can stop over and see them at triggertech.com, and you can order their triggers online if you like. So thank you so much for taking the time to join us here on the show. My name is Jamie Dotson. I'm your host, and you are listening to the Long Range Shooting and Custom Rifle Building Podcast.